Hello, hello, hello. Can you hear me?
Hello, I can. Can you hear me?
Yep.
That's great.
Okay, fantastic. So I'm just going to do that real quick. I'm going to intro. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the 6 Feet Apart podcast. Today, joining me is
Isabella
Isabella.
Dambrosio.
She is a woman that introduces herself. Welcome. How's your day starting?
Thank you. Great, great. Woke up at 4:50, did my workout, got ready, had breakfast, and came over here.
Yeah, for context, we started the day at 7 a.m. So she showed up at my place at 7 a.m. We walked over to the park, and now we're here having a podcast. Nice
Yes.
early day. Do you wake up at 4:50 every day?
No, just on the extra early days. I like waking up sometimes at 5 a.m. because it's just, or 4:50 because it's nice. No one's awake, not even the sun. And it's just like the world is just quiet at that time. Most days I wake up around 9:30.
Nice.
Every day starts the same: a workout, breakfast, shower, and then get ready.
That's awesome. I want to know, Isabella, when was the last time that you felt seen?
Wow, getting right into it.
Welcome to the 6 Feet Apart podcast.
Last time I felt seen. You know what? In some ways I feel seen, and in other ways I don't. So to say the last time I felt fully seen was, I guess, being alone with myself, honestly, this
Nice.
morning. Just felt like everything in my body, in my mind, and things like for once in like a very long time, I actually felt like peace.
Nice. That's so awesome.
Yeah.
I'm so happy for you. Yeah, I think that's a really good answer because I don't know. I mean, it always depends on who you ask, but in my own social circle, I don't know the last time that when I asked that question, someone was like, oh, yeah, like, immediately yesterday, like my parents or something. But I've been asking a few strangers. So sometimes I set up here in the park and I have strangers come sit down and just be on the podcast. And the last time I did that, last week, it was like 6 out of 7 people all said, oh, yeah, like, yesterday or my family. And I was like, oh, wow, what a beautiful world that we all live in, because I don't remember the last time that I felt seen. And it's awesome that you said that you felt that way with yourself. That means you've got a pretty strong relationship with yourself.
Yeah, I've been building it over the last long while.
How long?
Probably for the last, I mean, in a way, we build it through all of our lives.
Yeah.
But I guess through the last, I want to say maybe 8-9 years.
Okay.
I was very broken in high school. I kind of came out of that brokenness in 12th grade, and then, more struggles and more trauma hit, and it was hard to find the peace within myself. A lot of self-blaming, self-harming in high school.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, no, that's okay. It made me who I am, made me stronger, and made me relate to things more, because it's so common in our world that, like, and people don't talk about it, because if you talk about it, you're like, attention seeking. But
or
if you
crazy, or
yeah,
you're overreacting, or so on and so forth. And it's like, hey, listen, I just fucking hurt myself. There's obviously something going on.
yeah, but then people are like, oh, like you did that, and then it's like, okay, well, you're attention seeking, and then if you don't talk about it, it's like, oh, we didn't see the signs. Well, yeah, you did.
Yeah, you just didn't want to actually see it.
Exactly.
That's why I always ask people, like, when was the last time you felt seen? Because something I really also liked about your answer is that there's different ways to be seen. It's like, okay, are you asking me physically, like, when was the last time someone glanced at me? Or are you asking me, like, when was the last time that somebody tried to, like, crack me open and actually understand who I am?
Mm-hmm.
And it's definitely the latter. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really care the last time someone took a look at you. It's like,
Yeah, exactly.
I want to know, when was the last time that you felt, like, cracked open? And I appreciate that you're doing that with yourself. It's really important.
Thank you.
Are you open to chatting a little bit about high school?
Yeah, for sure.
Why were you so broken in high school?
Um,
How did you pick up the pieces?
so yeah, going into grade. Okay, so my parents divorced when I was 8, going on 9.
That's a hard time. Yeah.
Yeah, I felt very broken by that because I thought we had everything. We had the money, we had the house, we had each other, and everything seemed great. But I was 8, and then that kind of shattered my world. So I was a little bit of a mess. I had people change and leave. Um, there was a lot of mental abuse that took place from several people,
A
even
lot of
some
projection and stuff. Yeah.
yeah, even some people that didn't even notice what they were doing. But when I was going into high school, I was 14 and I didn't have any friends or barely any friends. So my sister took me around her group of friends, and this one guy took a liking to me, and he was 16, and I was too young, and I had repeated to him several times that I was too young.
How old were you at the time? Sorry.
14.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Like, I hadn't even started grade 9, hadn't had my first kiss, like nothing. And anyway, he sexually assaulted me.
Demon.
Yeah.
Fucking
And
16-year-old boys, dude. Stop that. You need to stop that. You hear me?
yeah, and stop telling girls that boys are nice or mean to them because they like them.
No,
And
that's like the stupidest
yeah.
thing.
And also, I'm sorry, but like, I want people and young boys especially just to understand that it's not okay to be drunk or to be sober at a party and then just have your way with someone,
Oh, yeah, 100%. That's so
you know?
fucked up.
And
On either end.
yeah.
Because I had the same stupid shit when I was growing up. Like, I had a babysitter, and I had this infatuation with this girl. We were like lovebirds, and she was extremely abusive, like crazy. She would go into the kitchen, and for context, like, I grew up in a really shitty environment and really bad neighborhoods. So my babysitter was just like an unqualified woman that was extremely overweight and stayed home and just had like 4 or 5 kids from the neighborhood. No classical training or background. 2 of the kids were her own, and just like a friend of my mom's, and her name was Diane, and she would just like drop me off there. But sometimes there was this girl named Chelsea, and Chelsea would get dropped off too. Now Chelsea, looking back, probably had some sort of like BPD or something, because she would go into the kitchen, and in the kitchen was where Diane, I guess, kept her tools, and she would grab the wrench and literally throw it at my head. Like, she would just start lobbing shit at me.
Some like anger built up there.
Oh, like some craziness. And Diane, instead of trying to diffuse the situation, would just laugh and say, "Oh, lovebirds always fight." And I feel like that's the same thing as boys saying, like, "Oh, I'm being mean to you because I like you." It's like, that's the stupidest shit I've ever heard in my fucking life. It is so manipulative.
It really is. And like, and if you think about it too, like tying into that, if you're like, you know, telling like somebody that like you were, you know, a victim of like a sexual assault or something,
Yeah.
you know, and they say, "What did you do to provoke it?"
Yeah, exactly. It's like, what the hell are you talking about?
It's like, "What were you wearing?"
There's a feeling that that's the way the world is. Like, that's essentially the message that you're being told. It's like, oh, well, that's just the way the world is, and you should be more aware of the world and know how to navigate it. But that's not true. Like, we all make conscious decisions every day, and if we're all
Exactly.
autonomous creatures, you don't need to sexually assault somebody. There's nothing
Exactly.
that provokes you to do something like that. That's like, you're just a demon. You're fucked up, and you need to like seek help, and you need to understand that you're kind of fucked up, and that you're.
Yeah.
And I understand, I was a 14-year-old boy. I had, or you said 16, and I would say like from 13 to actually maybe even like 12. From 12 to as soon as you boys know what I'm talking about. From 12 to like 21, your hormones are like insane.
Yeah.
Like the random boners, the like the way that your brain tells you like, "Ooh, I want to like stick my seed in something." It's insane. It's a lot to deal with. I would
Yeah.
say it's probably somewhat similar to what it feels like to go through your period and your hormones just change. It's like, yeah, I'm fucking wired to plant my seed into something.
Yeah.
That being said, the same way that when your hormones go completely out of whack and you can have emotional regulation and find ways to cope, when you're a horn dog, okay, when you have like actual just insane chemicals in your body that are rushing all the blood to your penis and making you feel like you want to do something to somebody, learn how to fucking control that.
Yeah.
And get comfortable with it and understand, like, okay, this is a natural thing. I'm an animal. Obviously, through biology, I'm made to try to reproduce. That's just like, that's human and animal 101, because we are organisms, and the only thing that we're made to do is to reproduce so that the organism can continue. But now that we live in a society, we should be taught sex education, and we should be taught, like, okay, these are hormones. And I think ladies, too, like, I knew growing up in middle school, there were some girls that, you know, would invite me over to their house, and they were like, oh, we're going to, like, just play some stuff. And then they would come on to me, and I felt uncomfortable. Like, just because I'm a boy doesn't mean that I want to, like,
No, and like
have
that's the thing
sex
too.
with
Like
you.
boys, like girls need to girls need to understand too. Like, you know, you also can't do that when it comes to guys. And I think a lot of even like, you know, sexual assault or harassment or, you know, uncomfortableness, it comes unreported from boys the most and
Oh,
guys the
totally.
most. And that sucks because girls, I think, need to also know that that's not okay.
Yeah, and that we're not just, like, fuck boys or, you know, toys to be used. And it's like,
Exactly.
oh, well, you know, he's also just a man, and he's not, like, his emotions don't matter.
If you like someone, like, you should just say, like, hey, you know, I think, you know, you're very handsome or you're very beautiful or, you know, I
Thank you.
think, like, you're welcome. I think, you know, this and I like you and I'd, you know, like to get to know you better. That's so different than, you know, coming on to somebody like you're in a cougar bar and
Yeah.
like you can't get out, you know?
Yeah, and it's a fucking piece of meat. And I've been that.
Yeah.
I've been that in that position, and it's like,
Yeah, me too. It's
awkward, and I actually understand, obviously not fully because I've never been a woman and I don't know what it's like to constantly be looked at as prey, because I understand that dynamic now very deeply. I grew up with women. I understand the stupid complexity that you guys are born into. It's like insane. But I will say, on the men's side, there are moments in my life that I resonate with that feeling, and I understand how comfortable it is to be like, okay, socially, I know I'm perceived as a man, so I should probably placate to the situation and just, like, let things happen so that I, you know, please the other person. But that's a victim. That's like a slave victim mentality.
victim, yeah, definitely. And
Like,
that's
you're absolutely being brainwashed and manipulated by your environment. If you don't want to fucking do something, say no and put your boundaries down and just, like, own
yeah.
that shit.
And that's the thing too with like just building off like the victim mentality. Like you can have victim mentality or you can have a survivor mentality or, you know, something even better. Like I had somebody once who said to me that, you know, oh, my mother and, you know, my cousin ruined my life. And I was like, you know, and I knew what had happened, but I said, okay, that happened when you were like 6 and growing up, and that sucked. And yes, I don't doubt for a second that they ruined your life. But the only person ruining your life now is you.
100%.
The only person that has stayed in that victim mentality is you. So change your mentality, change your life.
100%. Yeah, there's something I've been trying to implement in my life more recently is this phrase that I don't know if you're familiar with Layla Hermosi,
Yes.
like Alex Hermosi's wife, but she says, like, fuck your mood, follow the plan. And I just love that mentality
Wait, is that his
because
wife or his sister?
it's his
Leela?
wife,
Oh.
Layla. Yeah, everybody asks me that when I talk about her. They are married.
Okay.
And it seems like a crazy couple, but they are totally married. And her mentality is fucking fiery, man. Like, she's
love
a
it.
killer.
She is. She's 100% is.
And she's so open about the, like, yeah, the hormones and, like, how hard it is and how you have to manage your shit, but, like, manage it.
Yeah, manage
There's
it.
no there's really, I mean, you can make excuses, and that's fair, and I want to tell people that their feelings are valid. That being said, at the same time, at the end of the day, like, the way that you respond to your feelings is you.
Yeah,
Right.
because anybody can say anything, like, to anyone. But the way that you either internalize it or don't, and the way that you take it, and the way that you're going to talk to yourself after that, and the way you talk to yourself before that is going to be huge. Because I can say to you, like, Stev, you're the handsomest man I've ever seen. You're like, thank you. Or I can be like, you're the ugliest person. You're
Based.
the worst person I've ever seen.
Oh, there's the real truth. Okay, there we go.
No, no, not at all. But, you know, you could, and the way that you talk to yourself, it's like, you know what? That means nothing to me because I know who I am, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of that I want to say to the high schoolers, because a lot of shit goes around about a lot of high school, a lot of shit went around about me that was not true. But I was very messed up.
High school is that place, you know, people just yap. They
Yeah.
just love to yap.
Yap out of their ass. And all I want to say is that, honestly, it only matters how you view yourself. Anybody can say anything about you. High school feels like the whole world when you're in it.
Yep.
But it's not even a crumb of the world. You can change who you are. The person I was in high school and the person I am now, I'm the person that I needed when I was younger, and I'm the person that I needed in high school. And that is like that was my ultimate goal. Oh my God, that like makes me so emotional. But like that was my ultimate goal, was like to be that person that someone else, you know, needed and that I needed. And now I am the person that I needed, and I'm, you know, that person for everyone in my life, you know, like my nephews, they're, you know, there's 3 and 6, they're my whole world. And I would do absolutely anything for them, and I'm exactly who I needed at that age. And even for like my sisters, for my brother, for, you know, my parents, my step parents, my step family, my family, you know, like I constantly try to be like a person that they need based on where they are at that moment in their life, because I think the strongest and best thing that we can do for people is to support them exactly where they are in their life right now.
100%. I love that.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you for getting to that stage. I think it's like, it's really admirable, and not many people get there. I want to know, like, what do you think was the culminating factor for you to make that switch in your mind where you're like, I'm going to show up as the person that I needed for myself?
Well, I would say, honestly, I didn't tell anybody after the sexual assault. It was like 2 years or 18 months where I didn't
kept
tell
it to
anyone.
yourself, like, just completely, yeah.
I blocked it out, and he went to my high school, so I had to see him every day.
That's hard.
And he stalked me.
And this happened before you were in high school, and then you went into the high school, and then he was just around. That sucks. I'm sorry to hear that, yeah.
Thank you. We kicked him out of the friend group, but, you know, he was always there.
Yeah,
And
fuck you. Get fucked.
Yeah.
Get out of the friend
No,
group.
honestly, not even. Like, if he's watching this, like, I wrote him a letter. I never gave it to him.
Mm.
But I wanted him to know that I forgave him.
Okay.
And a lot of people are like, oh, fuck that. Well, no, I forgive you. And I forgave him because I had to do it for me, not for him.
Mm.
Because that's my peace. And if I hold on to that hatred, that would be just giving into the same ignorance that made him what he is. And he is a dead soul.
Wow, that's so mature of you.
And I'm not going to give him any more of my time. He's never going to have any piece of me, not even my hatred. And that forgiveness isn't even for him. That's for me.
That's amazing and incredible. And I really urge as many people as possible that are listening to try to take in really understand that there's a level of gratitude and compassion that is needed in our society. And I think you're exemplary in that form.
Thank you.
Because there's a lot of emotional maturity that it takes to be like, something happened to me and I forgive that situation. I forgive myself for going through that situation. I forgive the other person because there was some sort of ignorance or something there that, you know, they didn't understand fully. and then I give myself the gratitude for even having that perspective, and that's how you heal. That's how you unwind that ball of emotion and slowly work through that trauma versus holding on to it, resenting, and then hating for the rest of your life, because that just, it does really live rent free in your mind.
Exactly. And I saw that happen to somebody, and where he is now in his life, and he's in his 50s, is the same person I was talking about. And it's like, you've held on to this for so long that it's almost like, not that you can't let it go, you're almost scared to let it go, because what does that mean for you? Because you don't know what your life looks like without it. And that's the truth. And that's why a lot of people hold on to anger and to trauma and all of that, because it's like, if I let this go, who am I? And how can I let this go? And letting it go is like the hardest thing, but you have to. And I'm not saying that it doesn't matter. I'm not saying move on. I think all of that is complete and utter bullshit. I don't think
just
you
get
move
over
on.
it,
You
fucking
move
idiot.
forward. Yeah, exactly. Like,
what are you, dumb? Like, it's just a little sexual assault. Like, just fucking get over it.
yeah.
It's like, wait, hold on.
And a lot of people said to me, well, thank God it didn't go further because it didn't penetrate. You know what? Whether it does or doesn't, that was still a sexual assault. That was
100%.
still a
And
huge
you were
moment in my
14,
life.
yeah,
I was
it's very,
14.
like...
I went into high school, a very unstable place. Let me just tell you that. High school's unstable. And I was on drugs and alcohol and smoking, and I did not care because I just wanted to die at that point. But I woke up one day, and everyone always asked me, like, how I did this. And my parents were always mad at me because I was skipping, and they didn't understand what was going on with me. And this kind of ties into the question you asked me about, like, how I got to where I am. It's just more so that I woke up one day and I was like, I don't want to be this person. I don't want to be like this anymore. Who have I become? What have I turned into? And I'm looking at myself in the mirror and I'm crying and I'm like, who is this person staring back at me? Like, she's dead. She is dead. So, and I had to kill her. I had to kill the girl that I used to be the woman that I am.
You had a come to Jesus moment. You crucified, resurrected, and came back, and you were like, hey, you had that compassion for yourself. And I think that's like, it's so needed.
Yeah.
I don't mean to cut you off, but it's like,
No.
it's genuinely so needed in this world. And I can tell you from personal experience that it's needed. Like, letting go of a past identity, especially one that's like been what you've used to survive and to maladapt into the world. It's so hard to let go of that side of you and to recognize, like, okay, I need to bury or burn that body. I need to go through, I need to sacrifice this so that I can reap the rewards of the life after. And you do need to sacrifice it. You need to let go of that past and do it in a way, I would say, very similar to the way that you're voicing it. Like, do it in a sacramental way. Like, realize that this is the step taken to level up, to grow, to change.
I honestly never even thought of it like that, in that way of like, like come to Jesus moment. But yeah, it's just.
I don't mean to make it a Christian thing. I just
no. It was no. That's born and raised, but no. Now I find myself, praying and believing more, because for a while I didn't know what to believe. I believe in like the stars and the universe and planets and alignment and all of that, and I believe in God too. So I kind of have like that spirituality aspect. Native spirituality is huge for me. That's something that I love. It's something that I followed. It's something that I love. Something that I'm very into. Some people get mad at me for saying that. I don't know why.
Yeah, fuck some people.
But
some people just get mad for... We were just talking about this, like, emotional regulation. Some people just get mad. Like, you look at them and they're like, what the fuck are you looking at? And it's like, hey, man, my eyes wander.
My eyes...
Like, I'm a curious guy.
I'm not...
I'm a silly dude. Like,
I'm not even staring at you. I'm just staring off into space. You happen to be my eye line.
I don't know if you've ever ridden the bus, but it's like, I'm scanning or I'm reading or I'm whatever. And then you just like, you catch a glimpse of somebody and then they're like, It's like, dude, what the fuck happened?
Yeah, it's who fucking
You
shit
need
on
to
your
come to Jesus
cornflakes?
moment.
Yeah, you do.
You need to fucking wake up in the mirror and look at yourself,
Gonna
give
bring you to
yourself
the
that
lake.
stupid fucking face, and just realize, like, maybe I don't want to be looking like that when I look at other people. And it's so
Exactly.
simple. Like, fuck, man. The stupid cliches growing up is like literally just smile. Like, just smile. It's
Yeah.
so, and I know it's like brainwashing a little bit, and it's a little psychotic. Like, you're down. I get it. But if you really can just, like, when you see a stranger and you just smile and they smile back, and that's the reflection that you're getting
That's
from
what I
the
do.
world, it does something to your monkey brain. Like, it really does.
And it's true because even like somebody said like that there was a story out that basically they were gonna end their life that day, but somebody smiled at them in the grocery store or smiled at them, and they decided not to.
Yeah.
You know,
Sometimes
and
it's that simple. Like,
that's
it's just
all
the
it
small
takes.
little interaction where you're like, shit, okay, there
Yeah.
is humanity in the world.
Because like I have a resting bitch face, I really do.
Same.
But I will smile at people.
It's like bad.
But I will smile at people, you know, and even if they don't smile back, I'm like, that's okay. Like, it's like when you're walking and there's other people walking and you're like, hey, how are you? You know, and they don't say anything. Or they say, hey, how's it going? You know, sometimes they respond, sometimes they don't. I personally look at whoever I'm walking with, if I'm walking with somebody, and I'll just look at them and I'll just like raise my eyebrow and they just start laughing. Because I'm like, how do you not say hi? You know? But that's just, I mean, there's some people I wish I never said hi to, but.
Fair. I find it weird when I'm walking around my neighborhood and I like smile and wave to somebody and they ignore me. I also hate it when I'm like mowing the lawn or something and people are walking by on the street and again I smile, I wave, and they ignore me, or they ignore me on purpose. Like, I don't know if you've ever had this situation, but like you smile, you wave at someone and they literally like see you, acknowledge you, and then like the reaction is that they put their head down and look away and keep moving forward. Like, I don't want to interact with this person. I don't need a social interaction. And it's like, dude, nothing's gonna happen. I don't bite much. I'm like, I promise,
bite
I'm
much.
nice.
Much.
But yeah, I don't know. And I'm so sorry to cut you off. You were getting to your culminating moment.
Oh,
What was the
yes.
change? What happened? When did Jesus come out of you?
Okay, so this is
In-
kind of a
in
long
you.
story.
So, what is the?
So I'll try to sum my story up. So I was in a very serious relationship when I was 20,
Okay.
and it was like marriage relationship, like very serious.
So we're fast forwarding. 14, the incident happened.
Went through high school, messed up,
Totally rough.
came out of grade 12 better and healed.
Okay. And then you got into this relationship at 20.
Yes.
Okay.
And it was great. It really was, but we were just two young, dumb kids that had no business whatsoever being in a relationship, especially before we figured ourselves out. And our biggest thing was we didn't know what to sacrifice for each other and what to keep for ourselves.
Interesting. Okay.
And, you know, we
so
broke
deep.
up.
Love it.
Thank you. We broke up on good terms. We don't talk now, but it was like, that's okay. But then after that, I was ready to start seeing someone again. And I started seeing somebody. And there were things in him that were crazy. Okay, let me backtrack a little bit. I'd gone to acting school. And during that time, I stopped talking to my cousins and some of my family, and that was very hard for me. My cousins were my best friends, and we had this huge falling out, and it broke my heart. I was crying like every day. It broke my heart. But then, you know, I saw something in this guy that I was seeing, that I saw in my cousins, and I was like, well, maybe if I couldn't save my cousins, maybe I could save him. But you can't save people, and I know that now. But I thought I could at that time. You know, you all have a moment where you think you can save the world, but anyways, so fast forward.
Not everybody, by the way. Only traumatized savior complex people.
Yes.
I am one of them.
Yeah, right?
I'm very much like, I can be the superhero. Put it on my back. And then at some point you like crumble, and you're like, oh God,
Never mind.
I'm still the hero.
Still here in like the rubble. I'm still here.
I'm trying.
But I think
Oh,
that
and the world will let you know that you are not a hero.
Oh.
it will let you know
it
in
will
the most
drop a meteor on your freaking head. Yeah. But I was like, fast forward, and basically we're sitting in a parking lot, and it's me, him, and one of his friends who became our mutual friend, and we're just talking, whatever. Anyways, this guy gets super jealous, and he tried to kill me.
What? Jesus. Okay.
He put his hands around my neck, and he choked me. And for a second, it was, the whole time it was scary.
And this was with the third party there too.
That saw it, and his friend said, "What the fuck?" And then he stopped, and my eyes got really watery, and I was like, "What was that?" And he was like, "Oh, it was a joke." And then he's like, "You know what? No, it wasn't." And then he's like, "Fuck you both." And we were like, "What?" And he was like, "Fuck you. I'm taking you home. You're fucking this, you're fucking that, whatever."
Little crash out moment. Okay.
Yeah. And then it was right around the corner from my house. And as we pulled up to my house, because I was just in shock, I was like, "You meant to do that, right? Like, you meant to hurt me. You wanted to scare me, right?" And he was like, "Yeah, so what? What are you going to do? Call the cops? Get me arrested?" But then I did.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
But then,
I like that.
yeah, I was a mess that night. I realized I left my wallet in his car the next day. We tried to go and get it, and I was like, "Just give me my wallet back, and I'm going to forget everything else." In hindsight, I'm happy he didn't give me my wallet back. I had to replace everything. But I'm happy he didn't give it back, because I went to the police, and they reassured me that, like, hey, this is not okay. And, choking has its own clause.
Yeah.
And it was like, he got charged with...
Definitely assault.
Oh, yeah. Theft, fraud, and assault causing bodily harm.
Yeah, 100%.
So that's like, 1 is like a misdemeanor assault. 2 is assault causing bodily harm. And 3 is a assault causing death or disfiguration.
Or with a deadly weapon or whatever, right?
No, that's 1. Yeah, but number 2 has... it's assault causing bodily harm using a weapon.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Which they charged him with that one. And...
Because he's got those bare hands.
Yes, the weapon was his hands, yeah. And the ambulance came to check me out.
I have weapons.
Yeah, I have weapons. My throat was 2 times the size it should have been, my lymph nodes, because he digged his fingers in. And, I got really bad PTSD from that.
I bet.
I had it from the sexual assault, but I had it from that. And then...
What is up with these people? What the fuck is going on?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm so sorry. Like, that's just so unnecessary.
I honestly, I feel like sometimes I was attracting it almost. And I know, it's not my fault, and it's not your fault if it has happened to you, because he's just fucked up. And I actually wrote, because I'm writing a book right now. Title is in works, but something around the lines of warrior. And I wrote a victim impact statement, and I read it at trial. He got charged with theft, fraud, and assault causing bodily harm using a weapon. But they came to an agreement where we'll take off the theft and fraud. You pay me back what you spent on my credit card, which was just $80. I don't really care about that. $90, whatever.
Okay, but that's just that's another level of insanity. You were told that someone's wallet was left in your car. You're like, "I'm not bringing it back." And then you go tap their fucking credit card at a store. What is wrong with? What did he buy?
He literally bought it. It was right around the corner from his house. He bought a Hot Wheels car, toy car, and joggers.
Dude, this is psychotic. I can't even fathom what the fuck.
Why?
And I know it's so small and it's so petty and it's so stupid, but I can't even. I don't know. That is another level. That's a different brain. I can't relate.
No, it's another level.
I can't relate to the just the weird. How the fuck do you get from point A to Z as that human being? Being like, okay, fuck you, I'm so mad, I choke you. And it's like, fuck this bitch, stupid whore, like fucking flirting with my friend, fuck her. You drive away all mad, and then the next day you wake up and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna really stick it to her. I'm gonna buy myself some shoes. What the fuck? Like, what is that? And I don't mean to be so judgy, but
No,
god damn,
but, I
dude.
mean,
What
and then
the
also,
fuck?
it's like him and I weren't even in a relationship. Like, we were just casually seeing each other. I was like, I don't want anything serious. I just got out of something serious. Like,
oh my.
and it was just.
By the way, I don't mean to laugh
hell.
at your situation. It's
Please
just
laugh. I was laughing. I was talking to my sister last night, and I was like laughing, and she's like, "How do you laugh?" I'm like, "Well, if I don't laugh, I'm gonna cry."
100%.
And I've cried enough about it. So I'm like, it's stupid. Think about it. When you think about it, it's almost, it can be comical. It's, because honestly, trauma, like, like, honestly, it was because I had a point where I wasn't getting out of bed. And I had a point where my sister was laying in my bed with me, and my dad walked into my room, and he was like, get up. And I was like, I'm good. And he's like, get up. And I was like, no, I'm good. And he was like, you've been in this bed for I don't know how long. He's like, I don't care what you do. Grab coffee, sit at the kitchen table, just get out of bed. And I was like, I can't. And I'm like bawling, and I'm like, I can't. Like, I just can't. And he was like, I need you to. And he's like, you have to get out of bed, or you're never going to get out of this bed. And I got up, I had my coffee, whatever. I went
Thanks,
back to
Dad.
bed. Yeah, thanks, Dad. Thanks, Dad, for a lot. Got out of bed.
It's not
you
my
know.
dad, but thanks, Dad.
You know, and then
my dad wouldn't do that.
oh God. My mom was super supportive, luckily, as well, through it. We all went to the trial, the sentence hearing together, which was really, really nice because they're divorced, as I mentioned.
That's powerful.
Yeah, we all went together and it was the first time in years that we were ever a united front. And you know what? It meant so much to me, even though they strongly dislike each other, and I mean strongly. It was just a moment of like, my family is like together, and it's just us, and it's just the four of us, and you know, me, my sister, and my parents, and that meant so much to me, and I don't think they know how much that meant to me. But it meant a lot. And
Well, for all the parents out there listening, this is a lesson for you. Like,
be there for your kids, man, because if you're not there, who is going to be there? But also, like, as a parent, that's your fucking job. So fucking do it. If like,
yeah, put your differences aside and just show up, because
mm-hmm.
I'm sure that there were like little moments that happen naturally, you know, little hugs and like glimpses, and just understanding that you have your village behind you during this time of, it's a battle. Like, in your brain, you know, your monkey brain cannot differentiate the difference between like a life and death situation with a tiger and like a court case. It's the same level of anxiety and cortisol that go through your head. So when you have your village behind you and you're like, okay, I'm safe, you know, the tiger's not going to kill me, I'm not alone. That's a really important step of that process for any individual. And when you're left alone to your own devices and you've only got yourself, and that relationship is a rocky one, it's hard. It's hard.
It is. And honestly, it was great to have them there because, you know, ongoing now, like, I have their support when I'm having trigger days, when I'm having good days, bad days, you know, and at some time there was more bad days than good, and now there's more good days than bad days. And, you know, knock on wood, I don't want to jinx this at all, but I just feel like my luck has been like turning around since, you know, I opened my own company, since I met you. It's felt like
I do that to people. No, just kidding. We've only known each other for like 3 days.
I know, but like, it feels like it's just completely like when your life turns around, you feel it, because even like, and this is like a huge trauma dump, but like, honestly, like,
get it out.
I was working at a company, and we were being tortured, and we were forced
like,
to work
chained up and whipped and stuff, or
basically we were told, like,
It's kind of hot.
we had to,
How do I sign up?
oh my God. No, we were told to, like, we had to work like 90 plus hours a week.
Jesus Christ.
I used to work.
How do I sign up? Just
Oh, yeah, okay. For like barely no pay, 20-hour days, long road trips. And on one road trip with this guy who, and I wasn't there long, but with this guy who was my boss's best friend and the best man at his wedding.
Okay.
Decides.
Where is this going? I don't know. Why do I feel like this is not a good story?
Decides that now he's going to try to have his way with me.
Uh-oh. And this is a situation now where you've been at 14 already sexually assaulted.
Already.
Then you had a situation where a man has tried to choke you to death, and now you're faced with your boss's best friend, best man, trying to have his way with you. How do you react to that situation?
I pushed him away.
Because now you're a veteran. Now you're a fighter.
Yeah, I pushed him away. I asked him to stop several times before he actually stopped, but I kept pushing him away. Nothing like
Good for you.
happened. Nothing went in. Nothing at all. Whatever. Nobody was drunk. Nobody was, under an influence. And I just said, like, get away from me, whatever. And I tried to go inside. He grabbed my wrist so hard that it bruised. And he was like, don't tell anybody. Don't tell the guy's name, his best friend. Don't tell your girls. Don't tell anybody. I went in. I instantly told my girls. And
You tell those girls.
Yeah. And they were in my sales team. And we slept in the park that night because that felt safer than sleeping in the house with him. When we went back to the house at 4 a.m,
Thanks, girls.
Yeah, honestly. We pushed the dresser up against the door. I don't talk to them anymore. One of them I was very trauma bonded with, but that never ends good. But
There is something about girls, though, that, like, in the moment, they were there for you.
They were there for me, exactly. And I'll
as
always
catty
thank
as
them.
women get and as whatever, it's like as soon as there's a trauma moment,
Yeah.
Girls bond. They do that thing.
Yeah, and I'll always thank them for that. They were exactly what I needed at that point. And even though it ended, I'll never talk a bad word about them because they were there, and that was such a hard moment for me, and they were there when I needed them. We pushed the dresser up against the door. We slept arm in arm. When I told my boss, he was like, I'm going to kill him. I'm so sorry. And then he's like, but did you do anything to provoke it?
Oh, my gosh.
Did you like it? Did you consent to anything? I told my parents. I told my boyfriend at the time. And they wanted to do some things that I will not say. But I convinced them not to. And that was the best decision because they don't need to go to jail. I need them with me. I don't need them in jail. And they don't need a petty assault charge, And I got back from this work trip. We were 12 hours away from home. We were in like Wawa Marathon area.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I ended up, when we came back, my boss slid a piece of paper across the table to me. And he said, sign it.
Oh, God.
And it said that I consented to what happened.
Oh, my Jesus.
And I said, this is bullshit. I'm not signing it. He
Yeah.
goes, if you don't sign it, you can't work here. I said, I'm out of here. I walked out. To date, we got an employment lawyer, which was one of the girls I was trauma bonded with, her dad. We got the best employment lawyer. He's one of the best in like Canada. We shut down the company. I ran a smear campaign on that guy. I told everybody what he did. It was so bad, I chased him out of the country. He just got his citizenship here, and I chased him fucking back to where he's from.
Good. Fuck that guy. And honestly, good on you.
Stay there.
I like you, Isabella. There's an energy that just
Thank you.
works for me. I like that. Like, honestly, I think there needs to be a shift in most of the world because I think what you're really practicing and what you're putting out there is accountability, and the world is lacking it. I mean, I'm not saying that like, okay, your friend makes a mistake and that you need to be exalted from the country. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that I think people in the world more so now than ever just need to take accountability.
I agree.
I feel like if your boss genuinely was like, I'm sorry for what happened to you, I'm going to have that man come we're going to sit down together and we're going to talk this shit out. You probably would have, first off, really respected that because,
100%.
not to be like, this is a man's role and a woman's role or whatever. But I think I think to some degree, men are supposed to keep like the peace. Like there's a lot of chaos in the world, and it's like kind of a paternal instinct to be like, okay, I'm going to take control of the situation, figure out what the truth was, and make sure that everybody like essentially like gets on the same page and moves forward. I think that's your fucking role as a man, is like take hold of the situation and be like, okay, there's someone saying something and someone saying something else. Get them in the same room and confront it.
Oh, he apologized. He admitted to it. But, I didn't go to the police or anything because I was like, I'm going to deal with this myself. And chasing him out of the country was the greatest thing for me. But honestly...
Well, I guess what I'm saying is him trying to get you to sign this letter...
that. No, 100%.
...is trying to obfuscate the accountability.
Yes.
You don't do that. What you should do
I didn't
is
sign it.
have all parties sit in a room together, be a mediator, especially if you're like a boss and a leader role, mediate the situation, and then like take appropriate courses of action and be like, yeah, be a fucking man and tell your best friend / best man to his fucking face and be like, that's not okay. You cannot do that. This is my place of work. You're going to literally ruin my company, which happened. But I think the reason that the company got dissolved and destroyed is more so because that man couldn't do his job.
Yeah.
You're supposed to take that role.
Yeah, and they tried to scaremonger us too. They were like, we have video footage of you like doing indecent things, and I'm like what? And they're like, we're gonna release it to the public and to all the people that you love, and whatever, if you don't drop this case. We didn't drop it. What footage?
Yeah, exactly. What the fuck?
I mean, he's like, we were filming you guys the whole time. I'm like, the whole time we worked there, the whole 3 months.
It's like, okay, did you tell me that you were filming me?
No, and that's the thing. No.
And it's like, do you understand what you're saying here? Like,
do you understand what you're putting in writing? Do you? Don't put it in writing. Never put it in writing.
Yeah, you were being surveyed the entire time, and I have video footage of you going to the washroom, and I like the way that you pee. It's like, you need to stop, dude. Because that's the energy that shit gives me. I also had this... I had this friend of mine that was going through a domestic violence situation, and she, told me at some point, because I'm that therapy friend. People come to me, they chat with me, and she told me at some point, she was like, yeah, and I also found cameras in our bedroom, like, where the power outlet is? Like, there was a camera, like a hidden camera there in our bedroom. And I was like, are you telling me that your husband not only is violent with you, but also secretly films you? And she was like, yeah, like sometimes I'm at home and I don't know if he's just like watching me. And I was like, lady, you need to fucking leave.
Yeah,
the first thing you need to do is pack your shit and get the fuck out.
Yeah, that's
and the
what I would
second
do.
thing is, if someone is just recording you, never told you, and this is not like a private property, I have cameras for my security or whatever, they're just recording you.
Yeah.
You should, and nobody tells you that you're being fucking recorded. That's a clear sign of some sort of psychopathy or sociopathy. There's something fucking wrong.
There's something wrong.
There's something deeply
something
wrong.
Yeah.
You need to, you have a right to privacy. And if your privacy is being broken, you need to consent to that privacy being broken, right? Like, we all know in a society that we show and present ourselves to the public differently than we do privately. When I'm private, I can walk around my home naked, I can jerk off, I can, take a shit, whatever. How I do my business when I'm by myself is my own business. Even if I was like, a heroin addict or whatever the fuck you do on your own time, that's your business. No one can tell you what the fuck you can do and can't do on your own time by yourself.
Yeah, 100%.
To be recorded. And then for someone to use that and to shove it in your face like, we've been watching you. Bitch.
Good.
It's like, especially if I was at work, good.
Damn, I got myself a fan group.
Yeah, I'm damn good at my job. I hope you fucking recorded me.
Yeah.
Watch that shit and learn something.
Yeah, learn
It's
something. But yeah, it was definitely, and that traumatized
So that's my rant there. I
me.
just couldn't believe that shit. That's
No,
crazy.
And that gave me PTSD too. And you know what? Although I have, depression, anxiety, panic disorder, BPD, fucking complex PTSD, like all of these things contributed to that. But that's one way. Or I can say that all these things contributed to who I am and how I am. And that's how I got to where I was, because I woke up one day and I said, after all this happened, and I said, okay, this is what happened to me. This is how it makes me feel. But I wasn't going to let all of that. And I learned at a young age to not let that rule my life and who I was. So I was like, I'm not going to let this ruin my life. I'm not going to let this be who I am. I'm going to be the best person that I can be, because I am destined for something better than this. And there was a quote, two actually, one by Rocky Balboa. I don't know if you've seen that movie, Rocky, but
I know of it extensively. I have
Yes.
admittedly never actually watched it from beginning to end,
Okay,
but
we need to watch
I
it.
feel like I've watched it. You know what I mean? It's like one of those
Yes.
movies. It's like Star Wars. I've never literally watched Star Wars, but I feel like I've watched it because it's so ingrained in the
yeah.
world.
And that's the thing. I was talking to someone, and I listened to this quote, and it said, like, I memorized this quote. It's like, let me tell you something you already know. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody is going to hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward.
Let's go.
That's how winning is done. Now, if you know what you're worth, then go out and get what you're worth. But you got to be willing to take the hits and not pointing fingers, saying you ain't where you want to be because of him or her or anybody. Because cowards do that, and that ain't you.
Let's
You're better
go.
than that.
She fucking memorized it to the T.
I listened to it every day at one point, and I listened to this other quote that was just
That's awesome.
amazing. It's like, and I want people to really think about the words in the Rocky quote, but also in this quote. It's like, the quote that gets me out of bed every day is that, you know, if when you die and God or the universe or whatever you believe in slides a piece of paper across the table and says to you, like, this is who you were supposed to be and this is what you could have done, what happened? And the thought of the person that you could be or were supposed to be gets you so much of, like, I'm destined for more. So to answer your question in short form, because that was long form, I had all these things happen to me, and when God slides that piece of paper across the table, whether it's, you know, in the next 5 seconds, the next 5 years, you know, the next 50, I want to be sure that I'm like, I have no regrets and I did it all. And I realized too, which gave me so much peace, is that it doesn't matter what trauma you've been through. If it's trauma, it's trauma. But beating somebody up or taking them to court or killing them or doing whatever you do after that trauma, whatever you do with it, that's your choice. But it's not going to take away the trauma. And that's what a lot of people don't realize. It doesn't matter what you do. It's not going to take away the trauma. You know, yes, did it make me feel better for 5 seconds? Yeah, for sure. But that trauma is something I'm going to have to deal with forever now. But that's okay, because it made me who I am, and I love who I am, and I can't love who I am unless I love all the broken parts of me and all the parts of me that are together now. And I do, and I'm confident, and I'm powerful, and I'm strong, and I believe myself, and I believe in myself. And I know that anything is possible. And I'm happy and I'm content with my life, with having my own company, with everything that I'm doing. And if everything I've been through leads me to this path, to where I am right now, to where I am today, I would do it all over again 100 more times.
I love that. I love that perspective. You mind if I share something with you?
No, not at all, please.
Because you were saying that, like, the trauma that you have now, you're going to live with forever. Are you familiar with a Sanskrit word called asamskar?
No, I don't think so.
So in the yogi tradition, so like back, thousands of years when monks in India were just like essentially meditating and trying to find, the key to life and spirituality and all that stuff. They came up with this concept called samskars, and samskars are essentially balls of undigested emotion, which is what trauma is in the Western side of the world. I think that there's a lot of ways to actually unwind those balls of undigested emotion and work with them. And I think that trauma definitely shapes you for the rest of your life, but I don't think it's something that you have to hold on to forever. There are ways that you can work through that.
And I more so meant it of like, the PTSD, it takes a long time to heal, but it takes a long time to not have nightmares and not have flashbacks and not have like these triggers. My therapist taught me to have good triggers as well. But in what I said with the trauma being with me for the rest of my life, I more so meant like when somebody like comes towards me, I'm gonna flinch. But it doesn't mean that I'm gonna feel this way forever, that I'm gonna have this trauma forever, that I can rewrite my brain.
Yep.
But the lesson and what happened to me, it's
gonna stick with you. It's gonna shape you.
I mean, after 7 years, they say all the atoms in your body have changed and, trauma's out of your body, they say. So
I don't know about the trauma leaving your body, but your cells definitely change.
Yeah. But I did get a tattoo right here. And it has a 7 on the W. And it says warrior. And the O is a yin and yang sign. And the I is a semicolon. Because I got that 7 years after the sexual assault when I was 14. I got that at 21. That was my first tattoo. And it meant so much to me because I consider myself a warrior.
Nice.
For getting through everything, for getting through my life.
You're a fucking warrior.
Up.
Hell yeah.
Thank you. You are a fucking warrior as well.
Thank you.
You are.
I know.
Good. You should. You should. You should be like, fuck yeah, I know, I am.
I know. I'm just a man warrior, it's a little more stoic, a little more humble about it, and in a cocky way. I wanted to ask you, if you could share one thing with the world, what would it be? What do you think is like the most important thing in the season of your life that you're going through right now that you could share with other 24-year-old women out there that have gone through some stuff or that can relate to you? Or maybe there's even something that some young men can really bite into. Is there anything that like is super important to you that you'd like to share?
That is, something I would share is to stand in your power, but be humble, be kind, and be true. Be true to yourself. If you're not true to yourself, you're not going to be happy. To live your life on your terms, the way that you want to live it. And to not let people's words penetrate you. And to just stand strong in your being, even on days where you feel weak. Like, that's just your power growing. It really is. So,
pain
don't
is
give
weakness
up.
Leaving the body.
Yeah, believe in yourself. Don't give up. And keep going because the sun will come out tomorrow.
I love that. That's phenomenal. Do you have any questions for me?
Yeah, what would your message to the world be, Stev?
The only thing in life you have to do is die. Everything else is a choice.
I remember you telling me that.
I live by that quote. Yeah, I think it's so fundamental. I have 10 tenets that I live, 10 or 11 now. I add to them once in a while and revisit them every 6 months to a year. But the most important one to me is genuinely remember that in life, the only thing you have to do is die, and everything else is a choice. The way that you react to the world, the way that you get up in the morning, whether you make your bed, how you smile when you engage with people, what you say to the bus driver, how you talk to your, waiter, all of it. It is all genuinely a choice.
Yeah.
And the more that you say those words, and the more that you believe in them, the more that you can enact the accountability that I think we're trying to share today.
Yeah.
Like, genuinely, just remember that whatever the fuck is going on in your life, you cannot control your surroundings, but you can control yourself, and you can make choices to change and manipulate the surroundings around you, or you can at least manipulate your body to move away from the surroundings and change your environment. And I think that's like really crucial for a lot of people to understand.
Yeah, I agree. I think that life is 90% what happens to you, or sorry, 90%. Yeah, no, 90% the way you react, 10% what happens to you. So your reactions at the end of the day to anything, they're everything. And I always say, like, when I tell my story, I'm like, you know, this is Isabella Dambrosio's version. This is the warrior's version. This is the version of me that I want people to know and to see. This is the version of me that I'm not only projecting, but it's the version of me that I truly am to my core.
Hell yeah.
So I think that's really, really important. And I think when people tell me their story as well, I always, you know, look at them in the eye and I always say, like, I'm here for you. I hear you. I'm listening. I believe you. And it's going to be okay.
I have one last thing I want to add on the word okay and fine.
Okay. Let's do it.
So I believe that words are very important, that when you speak, you are verbalizing your emotions and you're expressing yourself. And most people speak subconsciously, not consciously. Mm-hmm. So their words are very honest representations if you take the words for what the words are. Yeah. Now, what I mean is, like, listen for the words, not the way that they're delivered. Like, literally listen to the words themselves and what societal definitions are. You could probably map on how that person is thinking. I think the words okay and fine, when people say okay and they say fine, are expressions of depression. And what I mean by this is I look at depression as the numbness in between good and bad. So things are either good and they feel good and you're happy and you're excited and all those positive emotions and you feel them, or things are negative and bad, traumatic, sad, anger, all those negative things. Depression is the numbness in between. It's the contentment. It's the, like, I feel nothing. And the more that you're okay and fine in life, the more that you build the space between the good and the bad, and the more extreme the good and the bad need to be for you to feel them.
Yeah.
And I don't know why it's only been like 2 years of this, but I had this like sense, and ever since I've been trying really hard to rewire my brain, but it's so natural to just be like, okay, fine. And I think I genuinely, when I listen to other people say okay and fine, it like has this little trigger in my mind. Mm-hmm. Because when I worked at Tesla back in 2019, I did this workshop called Buzzwords. So if you notice, I pretty articulate with my speech. I take pauses instead of going ums and ahs and all this stuff. And it's because when I did the workshop, we did what's called buzzwords. And everybody in your sales team was essentially tasked with having active listening and hearing each other. And what we would do is anytime someone would say a buzzword like but, so, whatever, like filler words, we would buzz each other. So if I hear somebody across the room using a buzzword or like vocalizing their thought process, we would go buzz and catch each other. And I would start doing that to myself internally, and I trained that shit out of myself. And recently, I've been trying really fucking hard to train okay and fine out of my vocabulary and catching other people when they say it. And because I have this belief now, when I hear other people say, like, that's okay, that's fine, I'm like, I fucking know that it's not okay and fine. Like, why is it okay and fine? How do we make it good?
Because for me, my dad just used to always say to me, like, everything's going to be okay. You're going to be okay.
But that is like...
And that calmed me.
It does calm you because it's not bad and it's not good. Everything is okay. It's going to be fine. But fine is like you're accepting and you're compartmentalizing your situation, when I think in reality there's a signal that's saying it's not okay. there's something that's not okay, and it's not okay in either direction, right? It's either good, like it's not okay, this is fucking amazing. You could say that. Or it's not okay, there's something off.
Right.
But I think we, as a society, and it's a survival mechanism, like we can't just be perfect about everything, or we would be psychotic, we'd be neurotic like me. I understand this. But I also believe that if we're conscious of this and we aim for the good, if we listen and we go, I hear that it's okay, and I'm glad that it's at least okay, but how can we make it good? Is there something that would change it from an okay to a good?
Right.
If you genuinely try to fucking put in that work, and it's work, it's not something that comes naturally, you have to rewire it. I think the space between the good and the bad starts to shrink.
Yeah.
That the depression goes away, and I would rather feel the good and the bad in my life than live in an okay and fine world.
Yeah,
I want to
I
fucking
agree.
feel the good, and I want to feel the bad.
I mean, stars can't shine without darkness.
100%.
Right? I mean, there will always be a darkness. It's the only way we can see the light. But that's what I love about the good and the bad in life. And like that's why the yin and yang sign even is like so important. I have it tattooed on me, like and the whole like reason of that is like it's a circle, okay?
Yep.
It's blank. And then you draw that
The line.
Now it's 2. And you color one side in, but you leave a circle of white. So that is the good in the bad. Then the other side is white, and you have a little circle, and you color it in. And that is the bad in the good. So there's the good and the bad and the good. Here is life.
Now, my analogy of depression, that line that separates the two, the more that you say okay and fine, the thicker that stroke gets and fills in between the two. Like, I genuinely, that's how I feel about depression. I think that slowly, like, once you have it, I think everybody has depression. I think it's like actually.
I think everybody needs to go to therapy. So I think everybody
come
needs
sit
therapy.
on the 6 Feet Apart podcast.
Yeah, this is therapy
everybody.
too. But everybody in this world needs therapy. I don't care. Everybody needs therapy, man. Everybody.
That's fair. And I think that depression is a natural thing that everyone will have and go through. And it's good to have. It's good, especially in a survival situation, to not have your emotional wiring get in the way. You need to numb your feelings. You need to numb your feelings, get a task done, move on, and then you can, grieve, cry, and piss and shit about it.
And don't just survive, man. Live.
Thrive.
This life is short. It is so short, and people don't realize that. And I'm saying this at 24. I realize that. But live, man, because life is too short to care about what every Tom, Dick, and Harry thinks about you. And, it's life. This life is yours. You can literally be anything and anyone you want to be. So in a world where you can be anything and anyone, Steph, I'm going to answer this, but I'm going to ask you first. In a world where you can be anything or anyone, what do you want to be?
Perry the platypus.
Oh my God.
I'm kidding. I want to be someone who forms and builds constellations of beliefs, and I think I do that every day. I try my best.
Yeah.
I try my best to help the world understand what paradigms are and how they can shift their lenses to make sure that their perspective aligns with their goals. Mm-hmm. And I like that side of me. And I think more and more every day I am becoming the person that I want to be, and that's a nice thing. That's a really nice thing. I am becoming Perry the platypus, slowly but surely.
I love that. In a world where I can be anyone or anything, I want to be kind.
Kind. I like that.
Because kindness costs nothing. I want to be me and my authentic self because everyone else is taken. And I think in a world where people are editing themselves into these Instagram models, be unique. Why would you want to be that? I mean, if you're an Instagram model, good for you. But no, honestly, good on you.
But at least have a unique value proposition,
your stomach isn't flat all the time, babe. You don't wake up like that. Your
That's
hair,
just me.
Your hair is not real. I know you have lip injections, and I know you get your eyelashes done, and those nails are done. And I know you got liposuction. Hey, listen, or you work for your body, that's fine too. But I'm just telling you that from somebody, I've gained a little weight now, I'm trying to lose it. But from somebody who used to be very skinny, your stomach is not flat all the time. I'll tell you that right now. It's not. And that's okay. I think you need to love yourself.
A little food bump's kind of cute. You know what I mean? You have a nice little food bump. You got a little, you were well fed. I like that shit. It's good. It's cute. I don't know. I think I love the human body and all of its forms.
Yeah.
And I think we all need to appreciate that. But also hey man, if you want to, transition into a different gender, or you want to fucking change your body and be completely tatted black, or have those crazy black eyes and long ass nails, and you're tatted all over your fucking face and you got piercings and shit, whatever you want to do, baby, you do you.
Exactly.
It's your body, your choice. Do whatever the fuck you want to do.
Literally. But just live and be your authentic selves.
Isabella, thank you so much for your time. It was awesome.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your time.
Hopefully we have you on the podcast again at some point.
I look forward to it.